Look, I need to be honest with you here. When we started this whole invasion thing, we thought we had it figured out. I mean, really figured out. We are the Carveth Dominion, for Star's sake. We have conquered 47 worlds. 47. We have weapons that can crack moons like eggs. Our battle cruisers are the size of small cities. Our soldiers? Enhanced with biomods that make them practically unstoppable. So when the Council picked Earth as target number 48, nobody batted an eye. Or, well, nobody batted their sensory stalks. Whatever. The intel briefing was straightforward. Humans were soft, pink creatures who spent most of their time staring at glowing rectangles and arguing about trivial nonsense on something called social media. They had primitive nuclear weapons, sure, but nothing that could touch our shields. Their largest military force. A joke compared to our smallest battalion. The invasion would take 3 standard cycles, maximum. We would plant our banner, harvest their resources, and move on to the next rock. Commander Vex was practically giddy about it. I remember him standing at the tactical display, his mandibles clicking in amusement as he pointed at Earth's scattered military installations. They call this defense, he had said, his voice dripping with contempt. My hatchlings could organize better resistance with training cubes. We all laughed. Oh, how we laughed. Day 1 of the invasion went exactly as planned. We hit 6 major population centers simultaneously. New York, London, Beijing, Moscow, Mumbai, and Sao Paulo. Our drop pods screamed through their atmosphere like meteors of doom. Anti-aircraft fire bounced off our shields like rain on glass. Their fighter jets were swatted aside by our point defense systems before they could even get close enough to be annoying. We landed. We deployed. We waited for the surrender. And then, something weird happened. Nothing. No white flags. No desperate pleas for mercy. No governmental representatives begging for terms. Just radio silence. Well, not complete silence. We started picking up bizarre transmissions from their military channels. Lots of laughter. Excited chatter. Someone kept repeating a phrase that our translators rendered as, finally, the gloves come off. What gloves? Why would they remove hand coverings? It made no sense. Lieutenant Kress, our xenobiology specialist, tried to explain. Commander, I believe it is an idiom. They are suggesting they have been holding back. Restraining themselves, perhaps? Vex had snorted at that. Actually snorted. Restraining themselves? From what? Losing faster. That was when the power went out. Not our power. We had independent fusion generators. But their power grids, across the entire planet, went dark. Every civilian network, every communication satellite, every electronic device that was not military-grade hardware just stopped working. The humans had deliberately crashed their own infrastructure. Tactical advantage, one of our analysts suggested. They are preventing us from using their systems against them. Made sense at the time. Little did we know. The first counterattack came at 0300 hours, Earth Standard Time. Not from soldiers. Not from tanks or jets or missiles. From civilians. Thousands of them. Pouring out of buildings we had scanned and cleared hours earlier. They came with improvised weapons, homemade explosives, and something our sensors could not account for. Pure, unfiltered rage. Our troops opened fire. Should have been a massacre. Should have sent them running. But here is the thing about humans that nobody bothered to put in the briefing. They do not run. Not when they are angry. Not when they decide something needs to die. They just keep coming. Wave after wave. We would cut down 100, and 200 more would appear. Some were screaming. Some were laughing. Some were completely silent. Just moving forward with this terrible, focused intensity that made even our veterans nervous. They are supposed to value their lives, Kress whispered, watching the tactical feeds. The psychological profiles said they fear death. They avoid risk. Well, I replied, unable to tear my eyes from the screens. Somebody forgot to tell them that. Then their actual military showed up, and things got properly interesting. Interesting is a polite word for absolutely terrifying, by the way. Their soldiers did not charge blindly like the civilians. They moved with precision, using tactics we had never seen before. Guerrilla warfare combined with high-tech drones, cyber attacks, and what I can only describe as weaponized creativity. They turned their own buildings into traps, collapsed highways onto our convoys, used civilian vehicles packed with explosives as mobile bombs. One group in Tokyo managed to hack into our communications and started playing something called death metal at maximum volume through our helmet speakers. 3 soldiers went completely insane from the noise alone. But the worst part? The absolute worst part? They were enjoying it. You could hear it in their voices during combat. Jokes, banter. One soldier, while firing a rocket launcher at our position, actually yelled, "This is for ruining Taco Tuesday." What even is Taco Tuesday? By the end of day 3, we had lost 30% of our invasion force. 30%. Against a species that was supposed to roll over and surrender. Commander Vex called for reinforcements. The council was not happy. This was supposed to be easy, quick, clean. Instead, we were stuck in a grinding war of attrition against an enemy that refused to follow any logical pattern of behavior. And then we received the transmission, broadcast on every frequency. In every language we had translation protocols for. A human female, wearing military insignia, staring directly into the camera with these cold, hard eyes. "You wanted Earth?" she said, her voice calm, almost friendly. "You wanted to see what humans can do when we get serious? Congratulations. You have our attention now. And here is a little secret about my species. We have spent 10,000 years finding new and exciting ways to kill each other. We have gotten really, really good at it. But we have rules, laws, ethics, things that keep us civilized." She leaned forward, and I swear every soldier watching felt their blood run cold. "You just made us throw out the rulebook. So please, by all means, keep coming. We have been waiting for an excuse to show the universe what humans are really capable of when we stop pretending to be nice." The transmission ended. Nobody spoke for a long moment. Finally, Cress broke the silence. "Commander, I recommend immediate withdrawal." Vex stared at the blank screen, his mandibles twitching. "Withdrawal? We are the Carvith Dominion. We do not retreat from primitives." "With respect, sir," I said quietly, "I do not think they are the primitives here." So, withdrawal was not approved. Of course it was not approved. The council back home was watching this whole disaster unfold, and their pride was hurt. Badly. How would it look if the mighty Carvith Dominion tucked tail and ran from a species that still used combustion engines? The propaganda damage alone would be catastrophic. Instead, they sent us the big guns. The destroyer-class warships. The orbital bombardment platforms. The experimental weapons we were supposed to save for peer-level threats. They authorized total war protocols. No more restraint. No more trying to preserve infrastructure for future exploitation. Just pure, overwhelming firepower. "Reduce their cities to ash," the council commanded. "Make an example of Earth. Show the galaxy what happens when primitives resist the Dominion." Vex was thrilled. I was terrified. Cress had started drinking something the humans called whiskey that he found in an abandoned bar. He offered me some. I accepted. The bombardment began at dawn on day 7. Plasma lances from orbit, turning entire city blocks into molten slag. Kinetic impactors that hit with the force of nuclear weapons. We targeted military bases, industrial centers, and population hubs. The destruction was total. Absolute. The kind of firepower that had brought entire civilizations to their knees within hours. We waited for the surrender. Again, and again, it did not come. Instead, the attacks intensified. The humans went underground. Literally. They had been building tunnel networks beneath their cities for decades, apparently for something called subways and utilities. Now those tunnels became a vast web of hidden passages where our sensors could not reach. They would pop up, strike, and disappear before we could respond. They hit our supply lines, our communication relays, our command posts. Small teams of human soldiers, moving like ghosts, dismantling our invasion piece by piece. And they started using our own weapons against us. Captured plasma rifles, stolen battle armor. One human, a male named Marcus Torres, became something of a legend. He single-handedly destroyed 3 of our gunships using nothing but hacked drones and what our analysts determined was an unhealthy amount of caffeine. "How is he still awake?" our medical officer demanded, analyzing the biochemical readings we got from a brief encounter. "He has been operating for 72 hours straight. His adrenaline levels should have killed him. Maybe humans just run on spite," I muttered. It was supposed to be a joke. I'm not sure it was wrong. Then came the incident that changed everything. The incident that made the council finally understand what we were dealing with. A human scientist, Dr. Elena Vasquez, was captured during a raid on one of their underground research facilities. Standard interrogation protocols. We wanted to know what they were working on, what new weapons they might deploy. She sat in the detention cell, hands bound, looking utterly calm. Too calm. You are wasting your time, she said pleasantly. You should have left when you had the chance. Vex leaned forward. Your planet is burning. Your military is broken. Your resistance is futile. Tell us what we want to know, and perhaps we will show mercy to your survivors. She laughed. Actually laughed. Mercy? You think we want mercy? Commander, you magnificent idiot. We have been holding back. Everything you have seen? That is us being restrained. That is us following the Geneva Conventions, the rules of warfare, the ethical guidelines we created to keep ourselves from going too far. You expect me to believe you have been restraining yourselves? Vex's mandibles clicked in disbelief. We have watched you throw civilians at our troops, seen your soldiers commit suicide attacks, witnessed acts of violence that would make our most hardened veterans uncomfortable. Oh, sweetie, she said, and the condescension in her voice was palpable. That is not us without restraint. That is us angry. You want to see us without restraint? You want to see what happens when humans decide the rules no longer apply? She gestured to the walls around her. You are about to find out. See, while you were busy bombing cities and congratulating yourselves on your superiority, we were cooking up something special in labs just like this one. Something we swore we would never use. Something we banned globally because we knew how dangerous it was. A weapon? Kress asked, his voice shaking slightly. Oh, much worse than a weapon. A weapon can be countered. A weapon can be defended against. Her smile widened. This is a plague. Custom-tailored to Carveth biology. Airborne. Fast-acting. Extremely lethal. And completely invisible to your bioscanners because we based it on your own cellular structure. The room went silent. You are bluffing, Vex said, but his voice lacked conviction. Am I? Tell me. Commander, have any of your troops reported unusual symptoms lately? Fatigue? Respiratory issues? Strange skin discoloration? She tilted her head. Because we released it 3 days ago? Right into the ventilation systems of your larger installations. It has a 72-hour incubation period before symptoms appear. After that, well, let me just say that death would be a mercy compared to what comes next. You would genocide your own planet. Vex roared. The contamination would spread to your population. Would it? See, that is the beautiful part. We made it species-specific. It only affects Carveth biology. Humans are completely immune. So are most Earth animals, actually. We tested thoroughly. She leaned back. We told you. We have spent 10,000 years getting good at killing. You think we would not figure out how to kill selectively? The medical officer burst into the room at that moment, his skin already showing the telltale discoloration Vasquez had mentioned. Commander, we have reports coming in from all fronts. The troops are getting sick. Hundreds of them. The symptoms match nothing in our database. Vasquez's smile never wavered. Tick-tock, Commander. You have about 48 hours before your entire invasion force is dead. Or, and here is a wild idea, you could get back on your ships and leave. Right now. Forever. And maybe, just maybe, we will give you the cure. Why would you give us a cure after releasing a bioweapon? I asked. Because unlike you, we understand that wars end. And when they end, someone has to live with what they did. Her expression softened slightly. We do not want to be monsters. We do not want to be the species that commits genocide. But we will do it if we have to. That is the difference between you and us. You thought violence was your advantage. Violence is our factory setting. We invented civilization as a cage to keep our own nature locked up. You just broke the lock. The evacuation order came 6 hours later. Emergency retreat. All forces, all ships, immediate withdrawal from Earth and surrounding space. The Council capitulated to every human demand. Return of prisoners. Reparations. A treaty promising Earth would be left alone forever. In perpetuity. Enforceable by galactic law. We got the cure. It worked. Most of us survived. The Dominion's reputation did not. Now, 3 cycles later, Earth has a seat on the Galactic Council. Humans have become the species everyone tiptoes around. Trade partners seek their favor. Military alliances compete for their participation. And the rest of the galaxy? We all learned a very valuable lesson. Never, ever mistake human restraint for human weakness. They built a civilization on top of an ocean of violence. And they are very, very good at knowing when to open the floodgates. Me? I retired. Opened a small trading post on a quiet moon far from any conflict zones. Sometimes humans stop by, and we chat. They are actually quite pleasant when you are not invading their planet. One of them, a former soldier named Jackson Cole, even bought me a drink once. "No hard feelings, right?" he said, grinning. "No hard feelings," I replied, though my hand still shook slightly when I said it. He laughed, clapped me on the shoulder, and walked away whistling something cheerful. And I sat there, nursing my drink, thinking about Commander Vex's last words before the council forced him into retirement. He had stared at Earth on the view screen, watching it shrink as we jumped to faster-than-light travel, and whispered something I will never forget. We did not invade a planet. We poked a sleeping predator, and somehow, miraculously, it decided to let us live. He was right. Humanity did not defeat us with superior technology or overwhelming numbers. They defeated us by showing us exactly what they were capable of becoming if pushed far enough. They turned off the part of themselves that made them civilized, just long enough to remind the galaxy why they built that civilization in the first place. To keep themselves in check. Because when humans stop checking themselves, well, you just hope you are not on the receiving end. That is the story. That is why the Carvith Dominion will never threaten Earth again. That is why my species, along with every other species that heard about what happened, gives humanity a very wide berth and a very healthy amount of respect. They wanted hell? They got it. They just did not realize that humans are not afraid of hell. They have been building and escaping their own versions of it for millennia. Compared to what humans can do to themselves, what we brought was just a warm-up. So take my advice. If you ever meet a human, be polite, be respectful, be kind. Because behind those soft, pink faces and those friendly smiles is something ancient and terrifying. Something that has survived ice ages, plagues, world wars, and nuclear brinksmanship. Something that really does not like being told what to do. So what did you think? Did this story surprise you? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this sci-fi story, please hit the like button. It really helps the channel grow. And don't forget to subscribe for more mind-blowing science fiction stories every week. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next story.